CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a supportive housing program under scrutiny. A local landlord says he's dealing with a mess of an apartment requiring a substantial repair bill and has faced threats to his safety. Daryl Newcomb reports.
Damage and debris virtually everywhere in this recently vacated apartment. The landlord who filmed the video says it was rented for 7 to 8 months to a tenant who was part of a local program for housing homeless Londoners.
This is an urgent crisis.
Councillor Susan Stevenson says the landlord wants to remain anonymous after receiving threats.
This is something that we see on social media. We hear about these horrendous living conditions, but I don't think any of us expected that we would see that in a city-run program.
You can see bugs on the shower curtain, drug pipes and needles, damaged smoke detectors, and a stairwell clogged with debris. The landlord vows never to participate in a housing program again, estimating they're out over $10,000. And the apartment will be off the market at least 2 months. Stevenson says the housing program was supposed to be providing regular visits by support workers to ensure the tenant was on the right track.
Taxpayers are funding the rent, they're funding the supervision, and we're doing this to people who wanted to help.
According to Stevenson, the apartment was part of Project Home, a Housing First program that's a partnership between City Hall, St. Leonard's, and a number of smaller organizations that provide support to tenants.
We're supporting or have been supporting probably somewhere over 200 or so individuals, getting them into housing. The types of issues that you're referring to, they only really happen a handful of times, and usually we're able to work with landlords to try and do some remediation or do some repairs and correct things when they come up.
Stevenson wants council to get more directly involved in its housing programs to ensure high-needs individuals are placed in apartments with the correct level of security and supports.
This is an emergency situation.
Stevenson intends to bring a motion to the Community and Protective Services Committee on Monday. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
The developer behind a 168-unit rental high-rise in Old South revealed design plans today. With more on the project's potential impact in one of London's most historic neighborhoods, here's Sean Irvin.
Construction crews prepare the ground for a new 18-story high-rise just a short walk from Wortley Village. The 168-unit structure known as the Mayfair, and a tip of the hat to the other London, is expected to be completed in 2027.
This will cater certainly to professionals. It'll cater certainly to empty nesters and retirees.
The project is among the first built by Tricar to benefit from the federal HST exemption on rental projects. The company says the program improved the feasibility of the $80 million project.
3-4% that it's going to help with, but every percentage point matters when you're talking about a large project like this and the amount of risk being undertaken.
The loss is worth it, says Liberal MP Peter Fragascatos. He is focused on bringing new rental units to the city.
We have demand that's out there, but we don't have enough supply. So by building more homes, we will get down costs in the area of rent.
Now, the start of this project comes at a time when housing starts are down in many parts of the country. But Carpella maintains there is still some confidence in the London market.
I think London, southwestern Ontario in general, obviously the market isn't as high as it was, but I do not feel we're feeling the same effects as somewhere like a Toronto or Vancouver would be.
We can build really high quality projects right here in desirable locations in our city and create some infill and densification in parts of the city where we really need it.
Yet modern buildings in the heart of Old South aren't always welcomed by the neighborhood. But this time, it's different.
I think many people are just happy to see something going up. Again, it's kind of been an empty spot for a couple of years, so people are excited to see progress.
The building's design, which features nods to the past, is also applauded.
Appreciate when developers put in that little bit of extra effort to make it look nice, and I think that Tricar's done that. If it was just, poured concrete with no windows, that has a different feeling in the neighborhood, but this will look good, I think.
In London, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Officials in Bruce County say they've greenlit a new affordable housing project in Walkerton. They say a 40-unit community housing facility will be built in the East Ridge Business Park. They're finalizing the land purchase this week. The municipality of Bruce County owns and operates 700 affordable housing units with more than 1,000 people on a wait list. The most recent affordable housing project was a 35-unit facility built in Kincardine, which opened in 2021. Local health officials are reporting 9 more Legionnaire's disease cases in the last month. Those cases were confirmed after August 6th, when the initial outbreak was declared over. Last week, when health officials redeclared the outbreak, they said the cases are likely linked to cooling towers at a meat processing plant on Trafalgar Street. They say the bacteria can cause pneumonia-like symptoms, and 4 people have so far died. Construction is underway on Western's campus on a new $44 million research center. University officials say they're using lessons learned from the pandemic to fend off future viral threats. And as Brian Bicknell reports, it's a first-of-its-kind facility in the world.
We kept our distance, masked up, and took extra precautions. And it was during the COVID-19 pandemic, researchers found out just how much more there is to learn about viruses and pathogens.
Oh, you have to be 3 meters away to have protection against someone who might cough or sneeze on you. Well, that was really just based on models. It wasn't really verified. And that understanding goes well beyond just that 3-meter rule or various other things that we practiced during the pandemic. And that's because we're just erring on the side of caution.
But such scientific guesswork could soon become more certain. Western University has begun construction on a $44 million pathogen research center. Located at this site in the Western Research Park, the center will house a good manufacturing practice, or GMP, designed to manufacture products for clinical trials on humans, and a microbial transmission facility. The first of its kind in the world, it will enable scientists to test how viruses like influenza or COVID-19 spread through the air in real-life settings.
We will release the virus into those facilities, and using mannequins that are mimicking human respiration and will have human lung cells in them, we can see how you transmit from one to the other.
The new facilities will operate alongside Western's existing impact facility, which studies how diseases behave inside the body. Operations Director Rick Gibson says it's about producing homegrown solutions.
Very costly to send these kind of things overseas and then back. And I think we're trying to solve the problem of being able to do all of it here, locally, affordably.
The new pathogen research center also comes with a major economic impact, helping solidify London as a medical research hub. It's expected to attract more medical industry almost right away.
But we anticipate bringing millions of dollars of industry to London within the first years of operation.
The pathogen research center is expected to open in 2027. Brian Bicknell, CTV News.
Officials with the town of South Bruce Peninsula say their fight over Saugeen Beach ownership is over. The Supreme Court dismissed an appeal last week, which was filed by the municipality after a lower court awarded the Saugeen First Nation ownership of a 2-kilometer beach stretch in 2023. The First Nation has since changed the name to Saugeen Beach, while the name of the town, Sauble Beach, remains the same. South Bruce Peninsula officials say a future survey will likely figure out exactly which land belongs to the municipality and to the First Nation. Despite rental prices falling, a new report says rates are still unaffordable across the country. The report was put together by the CCPA. It found 1- and 2-bedroom apartments are out of reach for many workers. According to the authors, someone working full-time needs to make at least $37 an hour to afford a 1-bedroom in Toronto or Vancouver, which is about $75,000 a year.
I mean, things like rent control can be important in terms of limiting the increases in rents over time. Part of the issue there is that the rents have already gone up. And so even if you close a lot of the loopholes on rent control, like exist in Ontario, in a sense, it doesn't matter because the rent increases are behind us. And we're now at just a new higher level of rent. I mean, we could also discuss higher minimum wages. But but it's pretty unlikely that we're going to get a $40 minimum wage in Toronto anytime soon. We're sitting about 17 at this point.
Ontario's minimum wage is just $17.20 an hour. It will increase to $17.60 an hour in October. The Prime Minister wrapped up a second day of meetings in Toronto today with his cabinet. The talk today touched on choices when it comes to the next federal budget. As Judy Trin reports, it looks like major spending cuts are on the table.
C'est un budget d'austérité et d'investissement.
Delivering the Prime Minister's vision of a budget with both austerity and investment measures falls on Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne. He was asked if spending restraints would result in job losses in the public sector.
There'll be adjustment in different places, but at the same time, we're going to be empathic to make sure that we're always there for Canadians.
Cabinet ministers met behind closed doors to find money for major projects and defense and to present what savings they found. The Carney government is aiming to cut day-to-day spending of up to 15% over the next 3 years. Federal unions call the move reckless.
I think that public service cuts can do a real harm to Canadians because the public service is there every day to serve Canadians and to protect them and to keep them safe.
The number of federal public servants has grown by more than 100,000 workers in a decade. The data shows that as of June, there were more than 357,000 public servants.
We're certainly looking to see what the government proposes to do around addressing workforce, whether that's a direct cut or more of a careful attrition and reprioritization.
He's doing neither investment nor austerity. What he's doing is even more bureaucracy and spending.
Complicating matters, the government will take in billions less in revenue this year. After Donald Trump complained, the Prime Minister dropped the digital services tax and the retaliatory tariffs against the U.S. Judy Trin, CTV News, Toronto.
On the sidelines of today's cabinet meeting, two top ministers gave an update on where negotiations stand with the U.S. on trade issues. With more on those comments, here's Rachel Aiello.
Canada is holding technical discussions with senior U.S. officials to try and convince Donald Trump to ease off on tariffs on steel, aluminum, autos, and softwood.
Those discussions start by having base understandings, common understandings of a series of potential options that may ultimately form what the Prime Minister said would be a series of small deals that cumulatively would put us in a better position than right now.
The minister said the Americans agreed to dig into the details around Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's D.C. boardroom table last week. And since then, this country's top public servant has been presenting specifics to the Americans on how sectoral tariffs are causing economic harm across the highly integrated Canada-U.S. supply chain.
You're trying to unravel something that's very, very difficult to unravel. And that's part of the challenge that I think our government is facing, which is going to be a journey of 1,000 steps. And some will be small, some will be large, but we need to keep moving forward.
This sliver of hope comes on the heels of the head of a hard-right Republican think tank bailing on briefing cabinet today. Kevin Roberts, the president of the foundation behind Project 2025, was tied up in Washington, according to his office. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Alzheimer Society in Chatham-Kent is launching an awareness campaign this month, asking the community to glow blue, supporting people living with dementia. Chris Campbell reports.
You never know when Alzheimer's or dementia could hit your family.
In Chatham-Kent, the Alzheimer Society's office on Memory Lane is coincidentally getting a new blue paint job this week. At the same time, the Society is encouraging residents to light their own homes in blue as a show of support.
It's kind of a play on Go Blue for Alzheimer's, but instead we're saying Glow Blue for Alzheimer's.
This is a chance for us in Chatham-Kent to spread the awareness and the education.
The campaign is called Glow Blue for Alls. Family and businesses are invited to take part by illuminating their properties and sharing photos with the Society online. Every submission is entered into a draw for a $200 gift card.
So blue is the color that symbolizes Alzheimer's disease and related dementias. So this is our second year doing it. We did it for the first time in 2023, so we thought we'd bring it back because it was pretty successful back then. And we just really want the community to support everyone who is dealing with Alzheimer's disease and related dementias.
For families touched by the disease like the Vercakes, the campaign offers both visibility and connection.
There's a sense of pride there because we're so grateful for everything that the Alzheimer's Society has been able to do for us and our family. But also it helps me know that there's other people that were like us who are, becoming aware of the services, and that it just shows me that they're making a broader reach, which is helpful.
It's a tough situation, and when you really find out more in the community and aware of things, it does help a lot. Yeah, and we appreciate it.
World Alzheimer's Day is September 21st, but the Glow Blue campaign runs nearly all month. The contest closes at 4:30 in the afternoon on September 26th, with a winner chosen at random on September 29th, helping shine a light on an illness that impacts thousands of families across southwestern Ontario.
There's so many more we could be reaching, and that's part of this campaign, is to get that awareness out there.
In Chatham-Kent, Chris Campbell, CTV News.
Still ahead, remembering a Canadian screen legend. The story of John Candy opens up the Toronto International Film Festival. Stock markets in Canada and the U.S. finished in solid positive territory today. The TSX up 165 points. In New York, the Dow added 350. The Nasdaq up 210. The Canadian dollar lost a fifth of a cent today. On commodity markets, gold fell almost $30 an ounce. Oil dropped 49 cents a barrel. The Prime Minister took part in a call with European leaders today discussing Ukraine's future. With more on the potential role for Canada in a post-war world, here's Mike LeCouture.
In a press conference after the meeting, French President Emmanuel Macron said 26 countries are ready to send troops to Ukraine or provide support over land, sea, or air. Now, Canada's commitment remains unclear. In a readout following the meeting, Prime Minister Mark Carney affirmed a willingness to deploy direct and scalable military assistance in support of upholding a ceasefire and lasting peace. A spokesperson for Defense Minister David McGuinty wouldn't elaborate if that means Canadian boots on the ground. Macron did stress that international troops would not be sent to the front lines. The French president also said he has no doubt the U.S. will help provide security guarantees, but details are still being finalized. Now, it's important to note the plan for a reassurance force would only become a reality following a ceasefire. Meantime, Russia continues to send troops into Ukraine. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Officials in Portugal say 2 Canadians are among the dead after a fatal streetcar crash. With the latest on that investigation, here's Heather Wright.
From above, the extent of the damage is clear. Belongings strewn amidst the mangled wreckage of the popular Lisbon railcar, which derailed last night. At least 16 people were killed, 22 injured after the railcar careened down the steep hill and slammed into a building. 2 Canadians are believed to be among the dead as Portuguese officials work to identify the bodies. With a high degree of probability, we've identified 1 German citizen, 2 Canadians, a Ukrainian, and another American, the Judicial Police Director says, adding 3 people are still unidentified. Global Affairs Canada says it's aware 2 Canadian citizens are missing and is working with authorities in Lisbon. Today, Portugal's president and prime minister visited the scene on what was declared a national day of mourning. Part of the wreckage was removed today as investigators combed the crash site. The funicular, a type of cable car that is used to climb steep hills, is popular with both locals and tourists, carrying more than 3.5 million passengers every year.
Officials are investigating whether it was a snapped cable that caused the rail car to lose control, but the company that operates the funicular says at this point it is too early to know, and anything is mere speculation.
Heather Wright, CTV News.
Good evening, I'm Rita Ismail. It was a beautiful evening tonight, but cooler. Our temperatures certainly dropping today. We were under clear conditions, and as we head into the night, that's the story. That rain moving out just in time for another low pressure system to move in, but it won't really impact us here in London. It will impact the wind gust. However, throughout Midwestern Ontario, heading into your weekend, you could see 2 low pressure systems back to back that will push through in the next 24 to 48 hours, and that means there is a chance for some light rainfall, but not everyone will get the wet stuff. I'll break down the forecast for you on the other side of this break.
Welcome back on the desk with Rita Ismail now. And I don't know about you, Rita, but I more associate something like the Western Fair with fall as opposed to a summer event. And with the change in temperature sort of midweek here, it feels like it'll be a fall-like weekend for the Western Fair.
Exactly. I feel like when the Western Fair comes to town this time of year, you're getting a little bit of rain, the temperature's cooling down, but it goes hand in hand. You're absolutely right. 17 degrees, there's that cool down for us today. Big change from yesterday's conditions, and we are below normal. We only hit 17 today. We're supposed to be at 23, and the record was back in 1972 when we hit 32 degrees. As we head into the night, mainly clear conditions, which is allowing that cooler air to filter in. There was a low pressure system earlier today, and with it came a heavier downpour throughout the morning hours, but cleared out nicely by noon. We were into a nice mix of sun and cloud into the afternoon. And as we head into Friday, the big weather story will be the wind gusts, especially throughout Midwestern Ontario. There is a special weather statement in place for your Friday. The wind could be gusting upwards of 90 kilometers per hour at times, so do keep that in mind. For us here in London, we're looking at about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour, although it will be out of the south, so not as cold of an air as we had today. There is a few low pressure systems that are heading in our direction. This one moved out. There's a little bit of wraparound rainfall, which again, throughout Midwestern Ontario, you could tap into. And the next weather maker will move through Sunday late in the day into your Monday. So there is a chance we could pick up a few light showers, again, mostly to the northwest. And that is the story with Friday's system that is going to push through early in the morning. You're picking up some rain and cloud cover for us here in London, mostly cloud, and then clearing out nicely for your Friday afternoon, remaining near seasonal for your Friday. There's another system pushing through again late in the day, Saturday, but that one's sitting further to the south. I'm keeping the rain out of this forecast as much as I can, but there is a chance, about 30 to 40%, we could see a passing shower, not an all-out rain event though. Thank you, Kim, for sharing this beautiful sunset photo that you took in Putnam. Let's plan out your Friday. So you'll wake up here in London, mix of sun and cloud, 11 degrees, winds out of the southwest. Right off the bat, they'll be gusting up to 60 kilometers per hour. 16 degrees by noon, and then the high for tomorrow right on the mark, 23 degrees. If we do see any rain, it will be after 3 p.m. tomorrow, but again, the probability quite low for us. Quite a pleasant weekend, although on the cooler side, 18, 19 degrees. We're expecting to stay dry here under a mix of sun and cloud. The next chance for rainfall won't arrive again until late day Sunday into Monday for us here in London. And I say that because it's a bit of a different story throughout Midwestern Ontario. Both of those two systems will usher in some light rainfall for you throughout Grey Bruce, Huron, and Perth. And again, keep in mind, Friday will be gusty. That special weather statement is in effect for your Friday. Temperature-wise, 22 degrees is where we're at for Friday, dropping and cooling down. 7 degrees Sunday morning, climbing to 19 as the forecast high, and then late day rainfall Sunday throughout the night into your Monday morning, and then clearing Monday afternoon. It looks quite nice and sunny for your Tuesday, and temperatures right around seasonal as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday, and then dropping off 15 degrees for your Thursday. Carlyle?
Rita, thanks very much. 2 fast food workers in Eastern Ontario are being credited with saving a life after a customer started experiencing a life-threatening allergic reaction. With more on their quick thinking, here's Tyler Fleming.
Amy, I'm glad that we were there for that customer. Yeah.
That customer, an 81-year-old woman, a regular at Cornwall's A&W, often seen by staff members Amy Boyer and Patricia Harrison.
Her and her friend, they love to eat at A&W. It's like their little adventure out.
But last week, a nightmare unfolded.
All of a sudden, one of the employees walked up to me and said, Amy, you need to call 911. Somebody's been stung by a wasp. They're allergic to them, and they don't have their EpiPen.
She went into anaphylactic shock, a severe allergic reaction which can quickly become life-threatening.
Her whole face had swelled up in a matter of seconds.
An ambulance was coming, but her symptoms got worse.
She was starting to go colorless.
My husband's deadly allergic. I'm like, what would I do if this was me?
Thinking fast, Patricia called the Walmart pharmacy just steps away. Their staff responded immediately, rushing over a treatment that could make all the difference.
EpiPens and epinephrine are the only thing that will rescue them.
A handheld device delivering a quick shot to treat the reaction. And with allergies on the rise,
70% of adults don't carry their EpiPen, and it's terrifying.
The Canadian Anaphylaxis Initiative wants EpiPens readily available in restaurants, malls, and community centers, in public spaces like defibrillators.
When he had the EpiPen in his hand and he kind of had it up like this, it was like, oh.
The treatment arrived from Walmart, handed off and injected.
Seconds of having the EpiPen, things started to come back to normal.
The woman taken to hospital by ambulance.
I cried. I definitely cried.
We had our team here, and we're a good team, and Walmart stepped up, and so did the paramedics.
I'm really happy that everything turned out the way it did, and she's okay.
Tyler Fleming, CTV News, Cornwall.
Finally tonight, the 50th Toronto International Film Festival opened tonight, raising the curtain, a world premiere for a documentary about a beloved Canadian actor lost too soon. With more, here's Andrea Case.
Gus Walensky, Polka King of the Midwest. Del Griffith, Director of Sales, Shower Curtain Ring Division.
John Candy died in 1994 of a heart attack, and now the definitive film about his life, not his death. John Candy, I Like Me, will kick off the 2025 Toronto International Film Festival.
Well, the movie was made with love. Nobody makes a documentary thinking, oh, this is going to open to $600 billion at the box office.
Produced by Ryan Reynolds and directed by his friend Colin Hanks, they turned to Candy's children, Jennifer and Chris, to help tell the story.
My mom and I were looking at Christmas footage, 89, and when you see like a young version of yourself come on screen and your dad is alive again and your mom is younger and your sister's there with you, it transports you in a way, and I just broke down into tears.
This is no meager life we reflect on today.
The film is filled with interviews of the Newmarket, Ontario natives' famous friends and co-stars who fondly remember the Second City, SCTV, and movie veteran. Hanks first met Candy as a child visiting his dad, Tom Hanks, on the set of the 1984 movie Splash. Candy was a co-star.
If you were a young kid, he made you feel important. He made you feel special.
Candy, the front-facing funny man, had many issues behind the scenes, and the film does not shy away from them or his mental health issues.
I think our dad later in life was just understanding himself and knowing that it was okay to ask for help.
The team is hoping those who knew Candy will remember the proud Canadian, and for others, an opportunity to get to know this comedic icon, father, and husband. Andrea Case, CTV News, Toronto.
That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For all of us at CTV News London, I'm Carlyle Fiset. Have a good night.